You know, had a couple of things to do, but obviously I'm here. You know, and of I've been doing through the international break. So I've been doing the best of the Premier League era, and obviously in all positions. So obviously for those of you that have been keeping an eye on the stream, so we've been doing the best central midfielder of the Premier League era, the best centre back, the best number 10, the best wingers in terms of being a left midfielder, left winger, attacking midfielder left, the same on the other side, attacking midfielder right, right winger or right midfielder. We've done right back, we've done left back, and now finally, we've done goalkeeper as well. And now we move to the main part of the pitch, some people would say, which is the striker, you know, and obviously, and the list that I've compiled is probably the biggest list I've done in terms of all the positions, I believe. And what I find annoying about this really is that I still think from the list there might be one or two players that I might have forgot, you know. And again, if you are watching this stream and there's some players that I haven't mentioned, then obviously, guys, make sure you put that in the chat and obviously give me who you think should be number one. But I'm going to go through all the players, you know, and again, I think if I'm honest with you, there's probably going to be an obvious winner, but again, it's not easy, you know. And for me, as I said, there was a lot of great strikers, past and present. Well, I wouldn't say really present. I would say at the moment, but just the present. I would say about 5 years ago, probably would say that are in this list as well. And as I said, yeah, if you guys have been watching the streams from previously, then as I said, make sure you check that out. And guys, again, I've reached 900 subscribers now, so obviously on the way to 1K. Obviously, next milestone, want to try and hit 950. So I want to try and do that hopefully by the end of next week. And as I said, you know, international break is now done. Obviously, it's FA Cup weekend, and then obviously next weekend, Premier League is back. So yeah, we'll be doing some more Man United content, and obviously some other clubs as well. You know, again, if you're a WWE fan, or if you're a UFC fan or a boxing fan, as I said, make sure you put your your comments in the chat. And as I said, make sure you subscribe to my channel at Gav Goes In, and you smash that like button if you like the content. So as I said, we're going to be moving to strikers now. Big up Sadra Ramiti. Big up for coming on. So we're going to move on to strikers now. So the best Premier League striker, or the best striker, should I say, of the Premier League era. So first off, we're going to start with Uruguayan international, formerly of Barcelona, formerly of Ajax as well. Everyone should know who we're talking about. Obviously, he's at Inter Miami now. Big up Gracie, big up Riley for coming on. Guys, again, make sure you smash that like button and make sure you subscribe to my channel at Gav Goes In if you like the content. And as I said, check out my other content as well, guys. So big up Dr. Drew. So Dr. Drew has said it. Luis Suarez. For me, Luis Suarez, what a player. You know, when he came from Ajax, you know, there was big noise about Luis Suarez at Ajax. And again, I was someone that did watch a bit of Dutch football as well. And yeah, for me, definitely one of Uruguay's greatest ever players. Probably might go down, I would say, as the greatest. Yeah, Gracie, big up, man. If you want to smash the like button, and again, if you want to subscribe to my channel, big up to Nick here as well. Big up to Adil Ahmed. Yeah, big up, guys. So yeah, Luis Suarez. So when he was at Ajax, as I said, he was someone that, as I said, I watched a bit of Dutch football, and immediately what noticed me about Luis Suarez was his physicality. You know, and again, physicality is an important trait, obviously, in the yeah, big up, Gracie, man. If you want to subscribe, by all means. By all means, guys, big up, man. Big up for coming on. There's 17 of you in there at the moment. So if you do like the content, as I said, check out my other content and smash that like button, subscribe to my channel. And again, if you've got any comments to put in the chat, whether it's football, whether it's UFC, WWE, then by all means, guys, make sure you put that in. So yeah, back to Luis Suarez. So what struck me about Luis Suarez was his yeah, big up Gracie. Um, what um, what struck me about Luis Suarez was his physicality, and I think obviously, as I said, in the Premiership, physicality is a main factor. But also, if you've got the physicality and you've got the technical attributes as well, and again, someone like Luis Suarez, it was the hunger that struck me as well. Um, yeah, big up Alexander East, Alexander East, big up Paul. Um, guys, I will get back to your comments. I just want to go through a couple of these things I've got to go through, but big up for coming on. So yeah, for me, Luis Suarez, in terms of his hunger for the game, he was someone that, as I said, he had everything possible to come to the Premiership um, and be a success. And then when Liverpool managed to sign him, one thing I didn't realize about Luis Suarez was how skillful he was in terms of the nutmegs, in terms of the little skills he done, and the season where he almost propelled Liverpool. Um, I don't think it wasn't a one man job because obviously it's a team sport football, and but I would say it was probably as close to a one man job. Yeah, big up Holly Crawford. But yeah, big up Paul, big up man. Um, but what I would say, it wasn't a one man job, but it was close to as possible from what I've seen, especially in the Premiership. Luis Suarez in that season for Liverpool. Again, Steven Gerrard's slip, which more or less gave Chelsea the title. But Luis Suarez in that season, that was probably one of the best individual performances from a whole season from a player that I can remember. And what a player, man. And as I said, when he came to England, for me, he was more of a skillful player in England, as I said, with the nutmegs, some of the strikes he put together, some of the long range shots he had, and he was someone, he was, he was someone, yeah, as I said, that was a great player, man. And for me, one of the best players to ever play in the Premiership, And again, a lot of people, guys, stop spamming the chat, man. I can see your comments. Let me just get through this, and I'll get back to you in a minute. So, for me, one of the best players to ever play in the Premiership. I know people would point to longevity, and and as I said, yeah, some people will point to longevity, but for me, I don't really look at things like that. I look at how good you was for that period of time, and the period of time that Luis Suarez was in the Premier League. As I said, he was devastating. He was unplayable at times. And again, I've mentioned before his combination with Raheem Sterling and Daniel Sturridge. You know, with a Steven Gerrard behind that in the midfield. That was a problem team for the Premiership. And again, Liverpool didn't win the league, but yeah, I think for Suarez, really, it was damning, really, because the performances he put in for that whole season, he should have at least won a league title, And when he went to, as I said, guys, I will get back to your comments. I'm just gonna go through this. As I said, when he went to Barcelona, as I've mentioned before, Suarez for me was more of a target man striker. I think at Liverpool he had more of a freedom to go where he wanted, and he could still do that at Barcelona, but he became more of a vocal point for them. But at Liverpool, as I say, he was more of a player to just pick up the ball wherever and just showcase really his ability. But at Barcelona, when you've got the likes of Neymar and Messi either side, you haven't really got to do that as much, and he became more of the focal point for Barcelona. And again, his goal return was mad as well. If I'm right, I believe in one of the seasons, I think in all competitions, I'm pretty sure he hit something like 50 some, was it 50 something or something like that? But yeah, what a great player, man. Obviously he had his misdemeanors in England as well. racial thing with Patrice Evra. But again, I'm not really here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about obviously the player himself. You know, again for Uruguay, his hunger to win. You know, which was evidence when they played. Who was it? Was it Ghana? Yeah, it was Ghana in the World Cup. And I think Luis Suarez, you know, people will say it's a rush of blood, but I remember when he just put his hand out to save the ball, and he got sent off, and then it ended up Uruguay beating Ghana on penalties. You know, so yeah, Luis Suarez, man, as a footballer, like he's got everything to his game in my opinion in terms of the hunger to win. You know, the strength. You know, he wasn't overly quick, but he still had a bit of pace. You know, he was a creator as well. He was a goal scorer. So yeah, in terms of best strikers of his generation, for me, he's definitely there. Top three, maybe higher than that, I would say. So yeah, what a player. Um, guys, I'm just going onto your comments now. So is my stream delaying? Is it delaying, guys? Let me know in the chat if it's delaying. Um, just gonna go on some of the comments. So Democrat says, give my sister her top back. Yeah, Democrat, very funny. You know, maybe you can't fit into a vest. I don't know, but big up yourself for coming on. Big up Arafat Sani, bro. What's your favorite color? My favorite color is green, but big up yourself. Um, Big up Tamina Lippi. Yes, I'm from the UK. Um, yeah, big up Paul. Big up Holly Crawford. Um, So Dr. Drew says, despite his character and all the ever stuff, he was world class at one stage. Dr. Drew, big up, man, 100%. As I said, all the other stuff, you know, I'm not really here to talk about. But in terms of Luis Suarez and Luis Suarez, the footballer, yeah, for sure, he's one of the best players of his generation. You know, and his combination at both Liverpool and at Barcelona, you know, he showcased that plenty of times. You know, and again, what a great career he's had. You know, Champions League winner, league title winner. Um, yeah, what a player he was, man. So yeah, I agree. Um, so I can go through the comments quickly. So Gracie says Ronaldo. Um, so Paul says, who is your favorite footballer? And Gracie asks the same question. So my favorite footballer is very hard to say one player, because if I say one player, I'm missing out a couple of others I that who are my favorites. You know, so if I was to say the top my favorite three players, my favorite three players are Ronaldinho, Messi, and the real Ronaldo are mine. So they're my three favorite footballers. You know, and obviously you've got the likes of Neymar as well, Paul Pogba, Anthony Martial. You know, Paulo Dybala. You know, these are the kind of players that I like to watch. You know, and obviously among Eden Hazard, you know, and amongst a few others. And right now, Pedri and Lamine Yamal for me are the ones keeping it alive. But big up your question. Um, so Paul says, "Is Suarez your favorite footballer?" He's not. But I'm just doing. So guys, if you're tuning in late, I've been doing for the last week or so the best players in their position of the Premier League era. So as I said, if you check out my other content, I've been doing on centre back, centre midfield players, goalkeeper, right back, left back, wingers, number 10s. And the last one today is on strikers. So yeah, if you do like the stream, check out my other content. Big up Reluctant Gamer, my mod, big up for coming on. Um, so yeah, if you have been checking the other streams, guys, make sure you check that out. And as I said, if you do like it, as I say, smash that like button and subscribe to my channel. Just going through the questions. So, who is your favorite youngster? At the moment, obviously, it's Lamine Yamal. You know, what a player. So how's your life going? I'm struggling mentally and feeling depressed of my life right now. Listen, if you're feeling depressed, best thing you can do, is pick your head up, and again, streams like this, you might find interesting, but what I would say, today's a nice day, get yourself out, go for a walk, go to the gym, work on your mental health. Um, and as I said, watch streams like this, you might have an insight into something that you didn't know already, but big up yourself for being honest and coming on. And as I said, if you do like the stream, smash that like button. Big up Gamer. So Gamer says you've got a lot of tattoos. Yeah, I do. Obviously, I'm planning to get some more as well within the next week or so, probably. I have to wait and see. But yeah, big up. Gracie, I've already gone through your messages. Yeah, big up yourself, man. Big up for coming on, as I said. But I've gone through your questions. Yeah, big up, get reluctant gamer, man. Big up, bro. Um, so Paul says, can your next stream be about Alexander Isak? I've talked about Isak already before. If you check out some of the other content, I think I've mentioned him before in one of my previous ones. But guys, yeah, I don't want to get sidetracked. No, gamer, I won't title my face, man. Don't be silly. No. Can't you see my good looks, man? Yeah, that won't be happening for sure, man. But big up yourself. Guys, just want to get back onto to obviously what I'm talking about. So yeah, so Luis Suarez for me definitely deserves to be in this list. Next on this list, Fernando Torres, again formerly of Atletico Madrid. Um, Obviously from Atletico Madrid went to Liverpool, and from Liverpool to Chelsea, and then from Chelsea back to Atletico Madrid. So yeah, for me, Fernando Torres, I think Torres came into the Premier League, and I think the one thing where people didn't really realize was his pace, And again, if you've been watching Spanish football for any period of time, you will know that's what Torres was all about, on the shoulder. Obviously, physically, he was strong as well, and his pace was a problem. Ask Nemanja Vidic. But yeah, I think in terms of an actual footballer on this list, he isn't the most purest of footballers, but in terms of what he offered in terms of his pace and his goal scoring, again, Fernando Torres was an absolute problem, and again, he was someone for me that, from the likes of the strikers that Liverpool have had before, which again, I'm going to speak about them after. He was another one off the production line, and I believe he was there before Luis Suarez, I believe, yeah. I think he was there before Luis Suarez, and yeah, for me, he was devastating, and when he left Liverpool, obviously his combination with Steven Gerrard as well for Liverpool, again, was arguably the best combination at the time in the Premier League. When he went to Chelsea, I think his career just stagnated really. I think his best time was at Liverpool, and at Chelsea, I think the style of play was different. Maybe he was slightly on a decline. And the Torres that I remember from Liverpool was nowhere near the player at Chelsea. And yeah, his career kind of fizzled out. But yeah, for Liverpool, he was devastating. And again, for Spain, in the period that he was playing with for Spain, Spain had a lot of creators around him, so he was something of an anomaly, where his pace was the difference in a sense, because I remember that front three when they had David Villa, David Silva, Fernando Torres, Iniesta, and Xavi and Busquets in behind. And again, that was devastating. And Torres, in terms of a pure footballer, in comparison to those players, he wasn't that level, but he offered something that those players didn't have, and that was just natural pace. So yeah, he fitted in well with that team. And again, someone that's won the Euros with Spain. Um, I'm not sure if he's won the World Cup. Was he in the squad when Fabregas scored? I think he might have been. I think he won a World Cup as well. If anyone knows if Fernando Torres won a World Cup, put that in the chat. Um, and obviously, again, he won. Did he win the Champions League as well? Yeah, he won the Champions League, I think, with Chelsea. Funny enough. So yeah, man, he was devastating, and yeah, thoroughly deserves to be in this list. Would I say Torres is going to be in my top three? He won't be in my top three, so I'm letting you guys know now. But he definitely deserves to be rated as amongst one of the best strikers in the Premier League era. Next on the list, one of my favourite players coming when I was growing up, watching the Premier League, and that's Robbie Fowler from Liverpool. If anyone remembers Robbie Fowler, maybe if you're an older fan, Liverpool fan, Robbie Fowler for me was probably the most naturally, technically gifted striker in the league at the time. Left-footed striker as well. The guy could score from ridiculous angles. Um, the one blemish on Robbie Fowler's career for me is that Robbie Fowler didn't play enough for England for his quality. Um, yeah, big up, Dr. Drew, man. Like, I've got an extensive background in football and in playing and watching. So, if those of you that don't know, obviously my background in playing. So, I was at both Chelsea and Tottenham in the academy. So, and obviously I played against a lot of professional footballers, i.e. Wayne Rooney as a youngster, Samir Nasri as well. So, yeah, I've got a lot of extensive background in football. So yeah, anything about football, guys, if you want to ask me, then yeah, put that in the chat. So yeah, so Robbie Fowler, man, Robbie Fowler was, as I said, for me, should have played for England a lot more. And I agree with Dr. Drew. He was a monster, man. Like, again, when I look at strikers in this era now, um, for me, you don't get strikers like Robbie Fowler. Like, I remember when Liverpool played Man United. And if anyone remembers the game, it's when Liverpool had the green and white kit, and Robbie Fowler. I think Liverpool beat United. I want to say 2-0 or 3-1, and Robbie Fowler was devastating. I mean, he scored two goals that, I mean, he gave Schmeichel no chance, and yeah, he was just unbelievable, man. What a player. Um, And as I said, man, like, they don't make strikers like that no more, especially left-footed strikers in today's game. And Robbie Fowler, for me, if I'm ranking all the Liverpool strikers from my time, from what I've seen, Robbie Fowler for me is in the top two. You know, that's how good he was. And again, it's more for the older generation. Robbie, if you know about Robbie Fowler, you will know what a bad boy he was. Yeah, guys, I will go through your comments. Don't worry, man. I'm just gonna try and get through this list because I've still got quite a few more to get through, and obviously, I'm wary of the time as well that people might have things to do. So, yeah, we'll get back to them for sure. So, yeah, Robbie Fowler for me definitely has a case to be in this list. In terms of accolades, I can't remember too much what Robbie Fowler won, but the footballer, yeah, definitely one of the best strikers the Premier League has ever seen, man, for sure. And again, older fans will testament to that as well. Next on this list, again, Michael Owen. And what I would say about Michael Owen in terms of a pure footballer, because I like pure footballers. Michael Owen for me wasn't a pure footballer, but what I would say, and this is the biggest thing people need to realize, is that if we look at strikers or forward players in world football today, everyone looks at the likes of Kylian Mbappe, for instance. The best way to describe Michael Owen is that Michael Owen was Kylian Mbappe before Kylian Mbappe. So Michael Owen was doing what Mbappe is doing now in terms of the pace, in terms of, so when Mbappe first broke through to the Monaco first team, Michael Owen was doing that before Mbappe, in terms of the raw pace, in terms of the finishing. And I would arguably say Michael Owen was, yeah, he was. I agree with Dr. Drew. Michael Owen was a better finisher. He was. And Michael Owen was devastating, man. He was someone that on the shoulder with that pace, once he was through, you know, um, he was gone. You weren't catching him. And obviously he could finish as well. I mean, his goal for England against Argentina, if anyone remembers, the little dribble. So he had that in his locker. And that's when he announced himself to the world, I would say, in that World Cup against Argentina as an 18-year-old. And again, he was someone that was just devastating. I think he won FA Cups. I don't think he won a league title, funny enough. I don't think he won a league title, but he won FA Cups. Again, this is someone that was regarded as he won a European award as well. So what the Ballon d'Or is now, he won slightly the equivalent, the European trophy. And yeah, Michael Owen for me was devastating, man. He was absolutely devastating. And as I said, he was Mbappe before Mbappe. Um, so yeah, what a player, man. Great player. Guys, we'll go through some of your comments quickly. So yeah, we got. Let me see. Just gonna go through some of them. Yeah, so game. I'm gonna go through the list. I'm gonna go through the list, and I'm gonna pick mine. Um, but I think it's good to have a quick little break from that. And as I said, man, it's an extensive list, but we're gonna go through it. So yeah, big up Gracie, man. As I said, yeah, big up for your comment. As I said, yeah, my extensive background in football is there. You know, let me just see. So Penny Sonley says, brother, how much do you make per year since not making it in football? Um, that's private, man. But big up for your question. Um, let me see. Big up Abhinav Aurora. Big up for coming on. Yeah, bro. Of course I know India, man. Delhi. Um, yeah, make sure, guys, make sure if you are enjoying the stream, you smash that like button and you subscribe to my channel. As I say, on the road to 1K. Um, yeah, big up Dr. Drew. So big up Jake George. So another one that's asked me. So Tom Aspinall versus John Jones. So I've been touching on it already before on my previous streams. So for me, I'm never going to bet against John Jones. For me, John Jones is the greatest of all time, in my opinion. Tom Aspinall obviously is the newcomer, really. But and again, you know, it's going to be a great fight. But I'm not going to bet against John Jones, no matter how long he's been at the game for. And yeah, for sure, man. I'm going to stick with John Jones, but it's going to be a great fight, man, definitely. But big up for your question. Gamer says in his order. That's a great order, man. Yeah, Henry, Shearer. Well, Henry, Shearer, Rooney, Drogba, Aguero. So I can see why you put Shearer in there. You know, don't worry. And I can see why you put Wayne Rooney behind Shearer. Maybe because of the strike from Rooney against Newcastle that time. But big up. Um, yeah, 100%. Dr. Drew. They don't make them like that anymore. I'm telling you, man. Robbie Fowler was one of a kind, man. Bro, are you rich? I'm not. I wish I was. I'm trying to get rich. You know, get rich or die trying, as Curtis Jackson, 50 Cent said. Yeah, I believe John Jones is going to win 100%. So big up Space Time Continuum. So he says, wait, are you a former pro footballer? So I'm not a former pro footballer. I was in the academy up until the age of 18, 17, 18. I was at Chelsea for 7 years. I was at Tottenham for 3 years in the academy. And again, there's players that I've played against that made it. Um, Obviously, the most notable names I've played against in terms of youth football was Wayne Rooney and Samir Nasri. And again, yeah, so I've got loads of experience in football playing and watching. So yeah, big up, man. Yeah, just under 1,000 subscribers. So in terms of me, myself and my channel, I've been doing the channel, I would say, consistently for the past 4 months. In terms of streaming like every day, you know, and yeah, it's growing. You know, it's not growing to the rate that I would like it to, but again, you got to start off somewhere. And yeah, I'll say about 100 short of 1,000 subscribers. So yeah, I'm just trying to build it. And guys, again, man, I wanna like, if you do love football, man, and you wanna have some a talk one time, you know, yeah, let me know, man, because yeah, if you'll let me know in the comments, you know, if you want to have some dialogue on camera, you know, you can put your opinions across on my channel, then by all means, man, I'm always up for dialogue, you know, because I think it's always good to get different opinions and see how you can kind of see how I can kind of conversate on that, really. So yeah, if you are interested in having dialogue with me on my channel and having your face on screen, then yeah, by all means, man, just make sure you smash that in the comments after the stream has ended. But big up yourselves. So Gamer says, did I tell you I picked up Gaza? Oh, what, Paul Gascoigne, yeah? Yeah, big up yourself, man. I think you told me one time in your stream before, I think, actually. Yeah, big up. So Space Time Continuum says, were you disappointed you never made it? Yeah, I was devastated, man. Again, this is I won't really go into it to bore everyone, but there was many factors as to why. Again, if you haven't played in the academy, you don't really understand the kind of disadvantages and the nonsense that goes on in the academy scene. So yeah, as I said, I won't go into it too much, but again, if you ever wanted to find out, you can always ask privately, or you can or maybe I can do a stream one time if you'd like about that. But yeah, big up yourselves, man, for coming on. But yeah, just gonna go back onto it. So I got a few names to get through. As I said, I'm a bit wary of time. So again, if you do put your comments in the chat, I will get back to them eventually. But I've got a few names to go through, so I'm gonna go through them as quick as I can, in a sense. Yeah. So next on this list, arguably the greatest striker, arguably the greatest player of the Premier League era, and that's a certain Thierry Henry. And for me, what separated Henry from everyone else in the league, was people forget that Henry was a great footballer, in terms of, the strength, in terms of his technique, his touch, his dribbling. And again, this is a guy that started off as a left winger from Monaco, and then from Monaco to Juventus, and to Juventus to Arsenal, where obviously he rightfully cemented himself as one of the best players to play in the Premier League ever. And for me, with Henry, what separated Henry from everyone else was that the bonus was his pace. His pace was his game changer. But I think when a lot of people look at Thierry Henry, they might think of his pace straight away. But for me, his pace was his game changer, and his technical ability was as much impressive as his pace. And yeah, the pace was just an added extra, really, and he used it to devastating effect as well. So yeah, Henry for me at Arsenal, his combination with Bergkamp and Perez, that winning team with the likes of Vieira in there, Petit, Sol Campbell, it was just, there are too many good players, and it was all spearheaded by Henry. He was just the complete difference maker. As I said, his pace, his strength, his technique, the goal scoring, the long range shots, anything you wanted, Henry had it in his bag. And he was just he was unplayable, like as unplayable as there has ever been in the Premier League. And again, being a Man United supporter, when United played against Arsenal, I literally was fearing the worst watching the likes of Henry and Bergkamp against my team, because I just knew you give them one chance, it's going to be a problem, because they had so much about their game. And that's a perfect combination of Dennis Bergkamp's vision, his creativity, and then you had Henry's pace, and again his all-round play as well. And when he got his move to Barcelona, again, the Barcelona move kind of, for me, it didn't change Henry's career, but he was in a system where he had to fit in, you know what I mean? And obviously you've heard interviews from Henry before saying that Pep always wanted him to stay wide, playing in that 4-3-3. And for me that took away Henry's game, because Henry's game was, just give Henry the ball and he'll make things happen, And at Barcelona, again, he was slightly declining. I wouldn't say declining, but he was not as potent as he was at Arsenal. But he played more in a system at Barcelona, and for me, it kind of took away from his game, But the Henry that I remember that was devastating was at Arsenal, and as I said, he was just unplayable, unplayable as I've ever seen. And yeah, he goes into this list, with no debate, and as I said, yeah, what a player, man. And yeah, as I said, you don't really see players like this no more, unfortunately. And I'm just blessed to say that I've seen players like that play, and obviously he does punditry now as well. And yeah, man, some of the goals he scored was just unreal, man. But big up. And then moving on, we're going on to Ian Wright. Obviously, Ian Wright, growing up, obviously come to the game late as well, obviously from Crystal Palace. And yeah, Ian Wright was someone that I looked up to in terms of strikers, being a striker myself. And yeah, Ian Wright was like a reference point, I would say. I mean, if I look at Ian Wright now, the pundit, he's probably one of the worst pundits I've heard. I can't listen to him. He's just, for me, he's a bit of a clown for me, if I'm honest. He's not the Ian Wright that I remember. But in terms of Ian Wright, the footballer, I remember having his video. If anyone remembers, if you're probably one of the older generation, he had a video called Rewriting the Record. It's when he broke, I believe it was a guy called Cliff Bastiff, I think his name was. He broke his record. If there's any Arsenal supporters in there, you probably might remember this. And for me, yeah, Ian Wright, in terms of goal scoring, was great. And again, if you look at the goal scorers now, Ian Wright was never really hitting them numbers, but Ian Wright was a pure finisher. And yeah, he was just a great finisher. Again, someone that should have played a lot more than he did for England, but again, with the likes of Shearer, Sheringham in there, obviously the likes of Cole, Ian Wright, Robbie Fowler, there's probably a couple of others as well. These guys were never getting a look in. And Ian Wright, man, for me was definitely one of the best. And again, played with Bergkamp as well. He was the one really that Henry kind of replaced straight after that. But yeah, Ian Wright, man, was he was a problem. He was. And as I said, he was devastating and deserves definitely to be in this list. One of the all-time greats for me. But yeah, 100%. So yeah, moving on. So guys, I'll do this one and then I'll go back onto the comments. So moving on. Again, someone for me that doesn't really get the credit he deserves, and that is Didier Drogba. Didier Drogba, I think, in terms of the era he was in the Premier League, for me, was the best striker in the Premier League. He and I remember watching Drogba play for Marseille. So if anyone remembers Drogba's career, he went from a French team called Guingamp, and then to Marseille. And I remember watching, I can't remember what it might have been the European version of the Europa League. It might have been, I think it was a final. I can't remember who Marseille played. And I watched the game and I believe Marseille got beat. And I watched the game thinking, like, who is this striker? Like, this guy just looked unplayable. And even though they got beat, he was unplayable. And he was just strong. He had pace. His touch and technique was superior. And when Chelsea bought him, again, I didn't see it coming, but I thought, yeah, they've seen something that I've seen. And again, he was someone that, he was one of the very first signings of the Roman Abramovich era as well. And when Drogba first came, if anyone remembers, he was getting criticised because, people were saying that he weren't good enough, he weren't ready, and again, credit to Chelsea, they stuck with him. And again, I saw something in this guy and I thought, yeah, he's gonna be a problem to whatever team he goes to. And again, he just grew into this absolute monster of a player, target man striker. His goal return, if anyone remembers, wasn't that great. But in terms of what he brought, big game player, finals, yeah, he just showed up in every final. Obviously, Champions League winner, scoring the winning from penalty against Bayern Munich, even though he got them back into the tie as well with a goal. And he's big games, every single game he come up, he was just an absolute nightmare for any defender. And I remember the goal we scored against Liverpool where he just absolutely bamboozled Jamie Carragher. You know, the goal that he scored was unreal, man. And yeah, for sure, man. Didier Drogba, one of the best strikers the Premiership has ever seen. Ivory Coast international as well. And for me, when you talk about African players, you know, there's Etu in there. You know, you got George Weah, JJ Okocha, Mo Salah, Sadio Mane, Yaya Toure. I mean, some of the players that Africa has produced, you know, especially playing the Premiership, is mad. And there's probably a few others that I've probably forgotten about. If I have forgot about them, guys, make sure you mention that. But for me, he has to go down as definitely one of the top three African players of all time for his devastating impacts in the Premiership. So he's definitely in there. Guys, just gonna go through some of your questions. Let me just see. Let's see. Yeah, big up everyone for coming on, man. Appreciate it coming through. Rooney and Cantona were better than Henry. No, they weren't. But big up Zagreus. I'm guessing you're Greek. Rooney, I'm guessing you're a Man United fan. Rooney and Cantona were two unbelievable players, but I wouldn't say they were better than Henry. But big up, man. Big up Gracie. Gracie says she left because she was depressed. Again, if you are feeling a bit depressed, guys, maybe a content like this needs it to be picking your head up, or get yourself out there and, you know, enjoy the weather. You know, go to the gym, do something which is going to make you feel good. Yeah, Henry was the man. He was unplayable, man. He was. So Gracie says, do you have a channel? I do. It's what I'm streaming from now. So my channel's called Gav Goes In. As I said, on YouTube, you know, I'm on Twitter, I'm on Instagram, I'm on TikTok as well. So yeah, Gav Goes In. So yeah, you can subscribe. Gamer, if you're on there still, bro, if you can just direct everyone to my channel if they want to subscribe. Big up for your question again. So Henry is amazing. He played against R9, Zidane, Ronaldinho, and loads more legends. Yep, 100%, man. Like, Henry was unreal, man. Obviously a pundit now. Yeah, big up. Yeah, Ian Wright was a baller at the time. He was. Drogba was in number 4. Okay. Again, this list is extensive, man. I've got a few more to go through. So Dr. Drew says the England team was handpicked by the FA, a lot of favouritism. Andy Cole didn't get a run. Ian Wright fouled, etc. Listen, Dr. Drew, man, you're smashing in some great questions. Again, we all know what was going on with the whole Andy Cole and Ian Wright. You know, there's a reason why Cole and Wright wasn't getting more game time for England. You know, it's the same reason. Again, being a Man United fan, why the likes of Pogba, Anthony Martial, Fred, Eric Bailly, you know, Rashford now, even though they've just realised that, you know, if you know what I'm talking about. Joshua Zirkzee. Again, there's a running pattern, man. If you're switched on to these things, which I have been for years, you know, these things aren't a surprise, you know. But Robbie Fowler for sure, man. I'm not ignoring you, man. I'm just trying to go through this chat because I'm wary of the time, man. But big up yourself. But yeah, Robbie Fowler for sure, man, should have had more game time, man. He should have. But yeah, big up people. So next on this list, guys. Bear me 1 minute, guys. Bear me 1 minute. Bear me 1 minute. Guys, can everyone hear me still? Guys, give me a thumbs up if you can still hear me. Good. Yeah. So, guys, next on this list, um, Sergio Aguero. Now, for me, Aguero was one of the Premier League when he 1 second, guys. I think something's wrong with this. 1 minute. Guys, everyone can hear me, yeah? Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Give me a thumbs up, guys, if you can hear me. You can hear me. I'll big up game. So yeah, um, Sergio Aguero. For me, Sergio Aguero was one of my favorite players outside of the Premier League. You know, watching him come through Atletico Madrid. You know, obviously was signed from Independiente, and I actually remember when I used to play a lot of Football Manager, and when I used to play Football Manager, I believe Aguero at the time, I think he was on Football Manager as a 15-year-old, if I remember, at Independiente, and I used to always sign him when I was Man United, and yeah, I used to always sign him when I was at Man United, and again, he was someone that wasn't really doing too much on the game, but the little cameos I would play him, he was just devastating, and obviously Atletico signed him very young as well. I want to say Atletico signed him, I want to say 17 or something like that. It might have been that kind of age. And when I watched him again, because if anyone remembers, Sergio Aguero replaced Fernando Torres more or less at Atletico. And I remember with his long mullet he had as well. He was devastating in terms of his. He reminded me a lot of Romario. If anyone remembers Romario, he reminded me of Romario. You know, with the low center of gravity, he's devastating shooting power. You know, big legs. Guys, give me a thumbs up if you can still hear me. Yeah, sorry about that, man. The stream just cut out, man. But so yeah, just going back onto what I was saying. Um, Sergio Aguero, for me, you know, he was yeah, he was someone that he was devastating, man. And again, he's someone that replaced Fernando Torres at Atletico Madrid, you know, and again when he was bought by Man City, you know, he was someone that I wanted Man United to target. So yeah, guys, I'm still in, man. I just had a bit of problem where I was just something wrong with my connection in my car. Something happened, so and my phone, so I've had to just come inside quickly. Yeah, but yeah, obviously I've got a few names to get through, and obviously, as I said, we'll go through who I think is the greatest of all time. So yeah, just got a few names, and I will catch up with your comments as well. So as I said, yeah, Sergio Aguero when he went to Man City, again he broke Man City's goal scoring record. You know, multiple time league winner, and was a major reason as to why Man City was successful in that team with Yaya Toure, David Silva, Fernandinho, Vincent Company, Pablo Zabaleta. You know, winners all over the place. And for me, as I said, yeah, he was a devastating player, man. And again, one of my favorite players in the Premiership at the time as well. And in his combination with Carlos Tevez as well, when Tevez came to the club, again was frightening, man. And that brings us in nicely to Carlos Tevez. You know, I've put Tevez in there. You know, again, Tevez for me, again another player that was very underrated. You know, he was someone for me that, in terms of his, again, very much like Luis Suarez, these guys have got a different hunger about them, and his hunger was just ridiculous. You know, he was someone that when he came to West Ham, you know, you could clearly see from the first game he was a level above. You know, and he was someone that should have been playing for one of the best teams in the league, and obviously had a hand in keeping West Ham in the league as well. And when he got the move to United, you know, I for one was so excited because I mean to have a front line of Rooney, Tevez, Berbatov, you know, was just mad, you know. And the fact that United had him on loan and didn't want to pursue the interest in him properly again was annoying. And then obviously Man United's loss was Man City's gain, because I think when he went to Man City, he went to another level at Man City. And again, I've mentioned already his combination with Sergio Aguero, you know, that Argentinian, you know, fighting spirit, you know, and the quality to back it up as well. Yeah, he was a problem, man. And as I said, he thoroughly deserves to be in this list for me, for sure. Moving on, Alan Shearer, you know, holds the record for, you know, and Reluctant Gamer will like this, holds the record for the most goals in Premier League history in, I think it's 280 goals. Alan Shearer for me wasn't my type of striker. But in terms of goal scoring, you know, in that era of football, you know, target man, what he brought to the likes of Blackburn. Obviously, he won a league title as well with Blackburn, and what he brought to Newcastle. You know what I mean? It can't be argued. And I think with Alan Shearer in terms of the goals is keeping him relevant in terms of people thinking he's one of the greatest, you know. And again, he has to be respected for what he's done in that sense. For me, he's not. For me, he isn't my greatest in terms of because the kind of strikers that I like is overall quality. And Alan Shearer as a finisher, as a leader, as a target man, you know, longevity in the Premiership as well, definitely deserves respect, you know. And the fact that he's held the record for the most amount of goals, again, is going to be very hard to break that record. I think Harry Kane had a chance to do it, but obviously Harry Kane's now playing in Germany for Bayern Munich. So I think the only realistic one you're looking at is Erling Haaland. And whether I mean, Haaland's got a 10-year contract, so he could be the one to break it, really. It just means that obviously he has to be scoring 30 goals a season for the next, you would say, 5 or 6 seasons. If he does that, then he will be for sure breaking that record, because I believe he's got 100 already, or he's closing in on that. But so I think Haaland could break it if he stays fit and healthy. And again, he's got a 10-year contract at Man City. So if Man City continue in the vein that they have been doing for the last few years, then yeah, he should be someone that should be in the reckoning to break that. But again, Alan Shearer, man, is in there by default, really, because of the goal scoring record. And again, he's what he's given, the service he's given to both Newcastle and to Blackburn. So yeah, big up. Next on the list, obviously, Man United, Ruud van Nistelrooy. So for me, obviously, the era of Van Nistelrooy and Henry, Man United and Arsenal, you know, the rivalry for me was mad. For me, Henry was always the better player, but Van Nistelrooy, in terms of how potent he was, you know, as a goal scorer, and yeah, he was someone that was, you know, he was keeping the rivalry alive, really, because he was just a potent goal scorer, and again, a target man striker as well, someone that that could play with his back to goal. You know, didn't really have too much pace, but he was quick enough, I suppose. But yeah, Van Nistelrooy for me, man, definitely is in this list as a pure goal scorer. You know, one of Man United's best ever strikers as well. But funny enough, only really won one. I think he only won one league title for Man United, which is mad to think because of how clinical he was. But again, has to be in this list, man, because you know there were so many great strikers in the Premier League, and he was definitely one of them. So yeah, he's in there for me, 100%. Moving on, you know, I've got a few other players in here that people might think they shouldn't be regarded in this list, but I think it's important to pay homage to them. First one is Dimitar Berbatov. You know, what a player Berbatov was, you know, naturally gifted. You know, in terms of strikers in this list, I think there wasn't really no other striker like him in the sense of his languid style that people probably didn't really like. But in terms of his pure quality, you know, obviously started off at Bayer Leverkusen, then to Tottenham, then to Man United, and then from there went to Monaco.
But yeah, Berbatov was unreal, an unreal player, man. And when Man United bought him, you could see his quality was just there. There's some of the skills that he done, in tight spaces, has to be looked at, man, more seriously, because you don't really get players doing that now. Someone of his stature, you don't really get players like that. And as I said, man, yeah, he was a class act, as Dr. Drew said, a pure class act. And again, Man United have had some good strikers, and he was definitely one of them, man. So yeah, Dimitar Berbatov, definitely. The other one is Jermaine Defoe. I think people might be a bit surprised to see Jermaine Defoe in this list, but again, Jermaine Defoe, for me, could have played for, yeah, big up 4889. Yeah, I do remember you. Jermaine Defoe, for me, in terms of a natural striker instinct, was one of the best the Premier League has seen. Obviously come through the West Ham system. Obviously went from West Ham to Tottenham. Tottenham to Portsmouth. England international, another guy that should have played for England a bit more. But in terms of the goals that he scored for those sort of clubs, can't be underestimated, because I believe if he played for one of the top teams in the country, he scored a lot more goals than he did. Because he was a natural finisher. And again, in terms of a pure footballer, isn't the best on this list. But in terms of a natural goal scorer, easily gets on there. And I think, again, he's not in the top three for me. But it's good to give respect to players like that, in terms of what he gave the Premier League. Obviously, he's a pundit now, and he's doing a good job of being a pundit, really. He's one of the English pundits that I see out there that does talk sense, and yeah, great player, man. Actually, I was actually at in the academy with his cousin, actually. So big up, man. But yeah, Jermaine Defoe, great player, man. And deserves a mention in this. And then I've got last two. Yeah, Robbie Keane is underrated. And again, I've got a story about Robbie Keane, actually, when I was at Tottenham, which obviously I'll go into another time. But yeah, Robbie Keane, nice guy, man. Very nice guy at the time when I met him. And yeah, again, he was someone that was the striker at Tottenham when I was there in the youth. So he was like a reference point for me. But yeah, he was a great striker. Doesn't quite make the list, but yeah, big up Robbie Keane, man. Great guy, and a great player as well. Next on this list, for me, one of my all-time favourites in the Premier League, Robin van Persie. Van Persie, if anyone doesn't remember, and if you're a proper Arsenal fan or Man United fan or football fan, when Van Persie was at Feyenoord, Van Persie was actually playing as a left wing back. Funny or not, he was a left wing back at times. He played, and many people probably wouldn't remember this, but I remember watching Feyenoord when he was coming through. He was playing on the wing as a left back, left wing back, left winger, and coming to Arsenal again, masterstroke from Arsene Wenger. Looked at him as the heir to Dennis Bergkamp's throne. And did I believe that Van Persie was going to become a goal-scoring striker? I didn't. I thought he'd have been more of a number 10, which he was when he first came through playing with Henry. Had the number 11 on his back as well, and then obviously transitioned to number 10. And what a player he was. As Dr. Drew said, his technique was impeccable. His technique was an absolute joke. That left foot was a wand. And again, one of the best left foots that I've seen in the Premiership, easily. And some of the goals he scored, his presence for Arsenal, again, it was at times a one-man team at Arsenal, when he was trying to get them to league titles or into top four. And then Man United done the unthinkable when they got him, and when United signed him, again, I was shocked. I couldn't believe United managed to get Van Persie, because Van Persie was easily the best striker in the league at the time. And again, he's one season under Ferguson. Everyone knows he more or less won the title for United, and his goal return, his performances was just ridiculous, man. What a player he was, Van Persie. And Again, definitely in the list for me for one of the Premier League greats easily. And then the last person, again, someone that's playing now and someone that definitely deserves a mention. And I've already mentioned his name, and that's Harry Kane. You know, I've touched on Harry Kane before. In terms of a pure footballer, Harry Kane has it. Passing ability, shooting ability. Someone, again, that's from my neck of the woods, near from where I am in Chingford, originally from there. Again, he played for my rivals on my Sunday League team as well. And again, someone that come through the Tottenham youth, was previously at Arsenal. You know, had loads of loan spells as well, which obviously carved his personality and his hunger to succeed. And yeah, Harry Kane, man, I think again to be in within distance of Alan Shearer's record speaks volumes for how good he was. And as I said, yeah, Harry Kane for me, great footballer in terms of being a pure footballer in terms of his touch, his technique, you know, his goal scoring, his creating. You know, never someone that had pace, but his football brain is just there for all to see. And I think the biggest compliment you can give to Harry Kane is that he wouldn't look out of place in any era of football, you know, because his technique is just there. And I think the one question mark that goes against Harry Kane is he doesn't step up when it really matters. You know, for all the goals that he's scored, when it really matters, whether it's been a World Cup semi-final, European final, Champions League semi-final or final, he doesn't show up. And again, he has a chance to do it with Bayern Munich, you know, where everyone's going to be looking at him to spearhead Bayern Munich, you know, to the final. So it's going to be on him. And do I think he can do it? He's got the ability to do it. You know, obviously his legs have gone, but he is still scoring goals, you know. And obviously his record for England, he's the highest goal scorer for England now as well. He's got it all to do for me still in terms of being a big game player, because that's the one blemish on his career. But to be able to score that amount of goals he has for Tottenham and the performances, again, has to definitely be in the reckoning. But yeah, I think in terms of big game, he's still got to do it for me. But he's going to win his first league title with Bayern Munich this season. So I don't see Bayer Leverkusen overtaking him this season. But I think in terms of Champions League, that's where it's going to count for me if he can take his team over the line. And but in terms of his goals, his actual footballing brain, the actual footballer that he is, yeah, he's definitely one of the best and deserves to be in that list. So guys, there you have it, man. If there's any other strikers that I've left out, as I said, make sure you put that in the chat. So we've had Luis Suarez, Fernando Torres, Robbie Fowler, Michael Owen, all of Liverpool. Arsenal's Thierry Henry, Robin van Persie, and Ian Wright. Chelsea's Didier Drogba. Man City's Sergio Aguero, Carlos Tevez. Man United's Ruud van Nistelrooy and Dimitar Berbatov. Tottenham's Harry Kane and Jermaine Defoe. And Newcastle's Alan Shearer. So those are the strikers, guys, that I've picked in terms of being the best in the Premier League era. As I said, if there's any other players that you feel should make this list, make sure you put that in the chat. For me, again, I did say beforehand, you know, it's probably going to be unanimous. And for me, this list of strikers, you know, is very difficult to decide. But I'm going to have to say Thierry Henry. You know, for me, Thierry Henry at times was unplayable. And again, coming up through the era of when I was watching football, where, you know, I was a proper lover of Man United, not so much now. Henry was someone that I literally fed because he was that good, you know, and he could turn the game at any point. If anyone remembers Henry's goal against Bartes, where he flicked it up at Highbury and obviously hit it in the top corner. And again, people said that he practiced this in training, you know, so those are the kind of instinctive things that Henry done. And again, his pace was his bonus, and he could just use that at any time. What a player he was, man. And again, an absolute problem to any defender. So yeah, Thierry Henry has it for me as my pick for sure. But again, what a list of strikers. And yeah, it was a difficult decision, but yeah, he gets my pick for sure. Um, Guys, big up for coming on. I'm just gonna go through the last question. So, yep, there's no doubts about it. Harry Kane is world class. He's the last of the pure strikers. Dr. Drew, couldn't agree more. Big up yourself for your quest for your comment in there. Yeah, he is. I would say in terms of Premier League strikers now, the Premier League strikers is a dying breed of that kind of striker. You know, because if you look at a lot of the strikers now coming through, a lot of them are wide forwards, you know, and then they might transition to being a striker. There's no natural number nines that I can see anymore, you know, because the game's gone away from that really. You know, you're getting a lot of false nines, i.e. Joshua Zirkzee, great player. You know, you're getting an Erling Haaland, I would say, who's more of a on-the-shoulder striker. Isak is a bit of a hybrid, you know, where he can play a bit of both on the shoulder and come short as well. You know, but the list of strikers now in world football isn't that great, as I've mentioned before. And yeah, Harry Kane, Lewandowski, Benzema, Luis Suarez, that batch of striker now, I believe, is no longer in existence. You know, I'm hoping football can come back to that, but the way it's going at the moment, in terms of the elite level, it's going to be a bit of a problem, a bit of a struggle for that, really. But guys, big up for coming on. Appreciate everyone's comments in there. Big up Dr. Drew. Big up Rutland Gamer as always as well. Guys, big up for your questions. As I said, if you have liked the stream, guys, make sure you smash that like button and subscribe to my channel at Gav Goes In. And again, check out my content. As I said, I've done 1 to 11. You know, goalkeeper, the best goalkeeper of the Premier League era. I picked Peter Schmeichel. The best right back was Carl Walker. Best left back was Ashley Cole. Centre back, I picked Yap Stam. Best central midfielder, I picked Yaya Toure. The best attacking midfielder left, it was Eden Hazard. The best attacking midfielder right, I picked, I think it was Riyad Mahrez, I believe. Yeah, I think it was Riyad Mahrez. The best number 10, who did I pick number 10? I forgot what I picked now. I can't remember I picked number 10. I have to check. And the best striker, I've obviously picked Thierry Henry. So yeah, guys, check out my content. And as I said, I've done the whole 1 to 11 best strikers, best players of their position in the Premier League era. So yeah, as I said, if you like the content, subscribe, smash the like button as well. And we're going to be back tomorrow, guys. Obviously, FA Cup weekend, and we can get on to the Man United as well. See how we're going to fare when we come back. Obviously, there's been a lot of news. There's been a lot of news on Man United transfers, you know, which always happens in an international break. But we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, catch me, guys, tomorrow. We're going to try and get into some Man United news or news around any other club. And obviously FA Cup as well today and tomorrow. So yeah, big up yourselves for coming on. Just the last question before I go. So Harsh Withdrawal says, hey, bro, your views on Conor McGregor. Moneymaker, I would say. Someone that has done a great job in gathering a public together to buy into him, you know, and in a sense has backed it up in UFC at times, you know. He's not the best ever fighter in UFC. He's not in the top 5 for me. But in terms of what he's brought to the sport, in terms of bums on seats, you know, in terms of his popularity, you know, that can't be argued, you know. And obviously he is good at UFC, a good MMA fighter. But he isn't one of the best. But as I said, he has done a great job in carving out a career, really, in terms of he's big. He's more than UFC, you must say. So that's my views on him. But big up for your question. But guys, I said I'm going to bounce now anyway. But big up for coming on. Make sure you smash that like button and make sure you subscribe to my channel. And I'm going to catch you guys tomorrow. Take it easy.